Welcome to Inside Promedica, your path to wellness. Brought to you by Promedica Charles and Virginia Hickman Hospital, where your health is our mission. Each month, we bring you insights from leading medical experts, the latest advancements in care, and essential health tips to keep you and your family well. Let's get started.
This is Kathy Williams, and with me on this podcast is Kristen Ferreira, and she is the Total Rehab Regional Director for Promedica with the Charles and Virginia Hickman Hospital. But Kristen, first off, thanks for coming to talk with us.
Oh, I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
So you oversee the Hickman Hospital, but you also have a lot of other places that you oversee. Total Rehab's a big thing.
Yes. So we have many Total Rehab, both clinics and acute care settings throughout Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan. Mm-hmm. So I have the pleasure of overseeing hospitals here in Adrian with Hickman Hospital, as well as Monroe Regional Hospital, and then Memorial and Fostoria hospitals down in our Ohio region.
In that other state.
Yes, in the other state, yes.
State down south.
Yes.
Kristen, it was exciting that you got a whole new place when they built the new YMCA out there. So how does having the Total Rehab there affect our community?
So I was so excited to be part of the design and helping to kind of bring to life these ideas that we had in partnering with our local YMCA to bring a health and wellness approach to the community. There was a lot of collaborative effort on ways that we could design a building that not only serves those who maybe are in need of rehab and looking for rehab and recovery, but also continuing their health and wellness journey. So it has allowed us an opportunity to not only build a state-of-the-art, absolutely gorgeous facility on a beautiful piece of land, but also partner with the YMCA on initiatives that promote health and wellness and continue a healing journey for our patients and community overall.
Well, and I think sometimes people think rehab, they think just broken bones, but it's way more than that.
Oh, yes, there's so much more than that. But there is the, kind of bread and butter rehab that you typically think about. I've had broke my hip and had a hip replacement or a total knee replacement or broken bones, torn muscles. And certainly that is the bulk of what we do. So here in Adrian, as well as Onstead and Dundee, we do have some outpatient clinics that offer physical, occupational, and speech therapy services that will cater to the lifespan. We go from as young as a couple of weeks old to 100 years old, and we do serve those types of patients that you referred to earlier. But we also serve a wider range. We see a lot of patients with neurological problems, maybe patients who've had strokes. We see a lot of people with vestibular problems. People have balance issues. So we have currently on staff one of our physical therapists just received her board certification as a neurological specialist. And right now she's only one of two clinicians in the entirety of Promedica that holds that board certification. And we're very proud to have that here in Adrian.
Yeah, we're blessed to have that here in Adrian. And I'm sure that, I guess this would be a good question is, in order to find out if someone's eligible to use the services, do they need a referral from their regular doctor? Can they call first and just find out if there's a possibility and then get with their regular doctor? How does that work?
So typically, at this point in time, we require a referral from a physician for services. But typically, if you are experiencing pain or illness or any kind of decline in function, you are typically seeing your primary care provider first. Right. And not to be too biased, but of course, I think that the path of therapy is incredibly effective. It is a low cost and high efficacy form of treatment. So it is a great first start along the path. So normally you'd see your physician and the physician would write a prescription for therapy.
That's perfect advice. Kristen, I want to let our listeners understand what's going on with therapy camps. I think that this is really interesting for the kids.
So I have touched on a lot of services that we offer for adults, but what I'm really here to brag about is our pediatric services and total rehab. We have some amazing pediatric clinicians, physical, occupational, and speech therapy. And we had one of our clinicians who has a close relationship with Annie and Jacques Schiller, who own Miracle Meadows Ranch here in Adrian, Michigan. And they kind of connected and thought about, is there a way that we can partner together to serve some of the most vulnerable in our community? And that can be our youngest patients, our youngest community members. So we serve a large population of pediatrics. In particular, a lot of children who have some developmental disabilities, maybe some sensory issues. They might not be at the right developmental stage to start school on time. And that's where therapy early on really comes into play and has great lasting effects in getting the child back to what we might consider a neurotypical level of function. Okay. So we're there to help facilitate that. So after partnering with Annie and Jacques, we developed what we refer to as our SPOT camp. Okay. So SPOT stands for Speech, Physical, and Occupational Therapy. And 2 years ago, we offered a Horsing Around with Spot, where we partnered with Annie and her trained therapy animals, as well as her trained therapy handlers. And each child that was attending the camp got one-on-one intervention from a licensed clinical therapist, so whether it be physical, occupational, or speech therapy, to really promote function and independence and kind of work on the areas that they were most in need of. So after that first year, we added a second camp called the Spot Adventure Camp. And again, we continued focused on really developing areas that the child needs to achieve to be as functional and successful as independently as possible in the world that they live in.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Does insurance cover any of this as part of rehabilitation?
So, yes, most insurances will cover therapy in the clinic. Okay. This camp in particular is not an insurance-based camp. Okay. However, it is a very low cost. Mm-hmm. We ask $50 per camper per day attended. Okay. And it is, as I mentioned before, it is one-on-one intervention from a therapist. Right. So, for example, we might have a child that is delayed in speech. Okay. And when we put them in front of the animals, you see this connection that really happens and helps to calm the nervous system. Yeah. And really allow the child to be in a relaxed state and help to promote proper use of words in response to whatever the stimulus is. Right.
So even reading to a pet will help.
Absolutely. Yes. It absolutely does. And there's so much evidence out there that shows how effective therapy animals can be. So unfortunately, in this situation at the camps, it is not covered by insurance. But as I said, it is a low cost, and we do have options to receive some scholarship money to help support.
Even. Yeah,
absolutely. We've had so many community members that have reached out and wanted to support this effort. So we do have some scholarship money. So please feel free to inquire about that scholarship money.
Well, and I guess that's my finishing question is what's the best way for them to find out more about the camps and, even more about the regular total rehab process?
So, absolutely. The best way to find out about the camps are, right here I can give you a little bit of information and know that we have 2 summer camps coming up in 2025. The first one is the Spot Adventure Camp, which will take place on June 17th at the Miracle Meadows Ranch. The second camp will be the Horsing Around with Spot. That is the camp where we actually have therapy horses involved. And oh my gosh, it's so much fun. And that one will take place on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, August 4th through 6th. These are typically about 4-hour days. And again, that's at Miracle Meadows Ranch, which is located at 3604 Chase Road in Adrian, Michigan. To get your child registered or just to seek more information, I encourage you to call our Total Rehab Clinic in Adrian, and that phone number is 517 577-0293. And you can learn more about the camps that we have to offer. You can ask to speak to one of our licensed clinicians who can give you more insight into those camps, or just seek some general information overall with therapy.
Thanks so much, Kristen, for coming in and helping us learn more about what's happening with Total Rehab, and especially about the kids' camps.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
That's it for this edition of Inside Promedica, your path to wellness. We hope you've gained valuable insight into the exceptional care and services available at Promedica Charleston, Virginia Hickman Hospital. For more information or to connect with our healthcare team, visit promedica.org/Hickman. Take care, stay well, and join us again on the last Tuesday of each month at 6:20 p.m. for another edition of Inside Promedica, your path to wellness. You can also listen to these programs as podcasts anytime under the On-Air Audio tab at WLEN.com.